This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The holidays are over, the decorations are down, and suddenly everything feels a little empty. It's normal to feel the winter blues after the holiday excitement. January, February, and March are by far my least favorite months of the year. It's cold and dark, and I have to get some extra vitamin D on board. I also need to keep my regular scheduled appointments with my therapist. So if you're feeling that post-holiday funk, I definitely suggest you checking out BetterHelp because maybe it's time to talk. You might also be one of those people like me who makes New Year's resolutions and you get super motivated. So maybe you need someone behind you to hold you accountable and come up with a plan to meet your goals. BetterHelp is super convenient, totally online. You have a therapist right at your fingertips whenever you need them. So head over to betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 for 10% off your first month.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadlines so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
This podcast is an unscripted, unedited conversation about true crime. We take the cases very seriously, but I don't take myself seriously at all, and neither should you. Welcome to Wife of Crime.
So, Russ, there have been many times on the podcast that you and I have talked about your opinions on street justice and vengeance. Well, today, I have a case of a father who took the law into his own hands. Because you see, watching the man who hurt his son go to jail just wasn't enough for him. This is the case of Jody and Gary Plauche. Everyone, welcome back to Wife of Crime, a true crime podcast where I tell my husband Russ true crime stories and he reacts to them.
What's up, folks? It's Russ again, aka the husband of true crime, aka I'm not that creative right now.
Yeah, aka you're hesitating.
What happened? You know what it is? I didn't have a beer yet, so let me open my creativity right now.
Oh.
Got to get the creative juices flowing.
Your beer is your creative juice. Yeah,
it loosens me up because right now I'm just like hopped off of, kind of embarrassed to say, but I had an oat milk latte. I drank that jerk my pinky out.
You think oat milk is fancy?
Yeah, it's like...
And saying the word latte, does it feel fancy to you?
Yeah, it's like, just give me a coffee light and sweet in New York. That's like how everyone just like, give me a coffee light and sweet from the bodega. It used to be 50 cents.
Yes.
I don't like nowadays. Everything's so expensive. Like, I remember I used to go into the stores, and here I go, it's blowing up my age, but like, you get a coffee and a bagel, it's $2. Yeah. Now, you get one, it's like, they're like $8, $9. Like, wait, what? It's bread and coffee, and that's cheap.
I know. And, now Starbucks is everywhere, so everyone's buying those fancy lattes that cost $6, $7, $8.
Yeah, save your money, folks. So, did you see that Carl Weathers died, a.k.a. Apollo Creed?
I did, but his name is Carl. I know that we've talked about before that you say Carl instead of Carl.
Carl?
It has an R. It's Carl.
Carl.
No, you say Carl.
It doesn't matter. You know who I'm talking about.
I know. No, it is R.I.P.
Apollo Creed.
Yes.
But it was messed up because since he passed, the only line I thought of, and I feel bad saying it, I thought of Ivan Drago when he was like, if he dies, he dies. But I don't mean it in that way, but like, because Apollo Drago almost beat him to death.
Yeah, I remember. No, that is sad. Now it makes me want to watch Rocky.
We did that on 4th of July. We watched all 4 of them, I think. Was it 4?
I think there's 5. But the 4th one is like the most popular. The one with the Russian. I feel like that one's the most popular.
Yeah, Drago.
But yeah, I saw that news and I immediately was like, I have to watch Rocky in honor of him.
Yeah.
That was that was a good movie.
I have another news thing.
Okay.
I'm Russ, the news reporter today.
Okay.
That could have did AKA the news reporter, AKA who? Tom Brokaw.
Brokaw. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's this dude. His name is James Spencer. He posed as a minor online.
Yes.
He's fit to lure in this guy Sean Connery Showers. He's a 37-year-old convicted sex offender, and James Spencer lured him, like saying like he was a little boy and he'll do things with him. He's 15, and then he shot the sex offender.
Yes.
And he said, and so the sex offender was found in a ditch with multiple gunshot wounds, and Spencer admitted it.
Yeah.
He said, I did it. So, but the prosecutor obviously said you shouldn't take the roles of the judge during executioner based on your personal feelings. But how I feel is hashtag free this man.
Yeah.
Like, you're ridding the world of someone who's going to try to sexually touch a child. You did a good job. So, you know,
kudos to him.
Kudos to you. If I wasn't lazy, I'd put some money in your commissary.
If you weren't lazy.
Yeah, I don't know how to go about doing all that.
No, he did. He was really proud of what he did because I read the article as well and I posted it.
You did?
You know, it's funny. I think that sometimes when I post things on stories, people think it's you. And you know, this is how I know I'm funny.
No, sometimes it is me.
Because people will laugh really hard at posts that I post thinking that you posted it, but it's me.
But how many times I sent you something and told you to post it? So stop trying to flex.
But there are times where I post it and you have no idea, like this time.
I didn't see it.
And yes, listen, there's a special place in hell for child molesters. And I'm not going to lie, I don't think the law should be taken. Like there is a line there where like we can't all take the law in our own hands. However, this guy is probably better off not on this earth anymore. So
I think
he
that
can't hurt any more kids.
They just shouldn't throw the book at him. You know, don't bury him under the jail. Take into consideration that there were good intentions there. I don't, there should be something. You can't just go killing people. But if you're going to kill people, kill those people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you brought that up because our case today has to do with that article. And I was going to bring that up.
That's crazy. I ruined your story.
You didn't ruin it. We'll get to it in a little bit. But one thing I did want to talk about is that for True Crime and Chill, we covered American Nightmare on our Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody loved it. Like, we got such a good response for this True Crime and Chill. Not only is American Nightmare a really, really great documentary on Netflix, the case is absolutely nuts. And our episode about it, Russ and I both were very passionate about this, and we were very angry at what went on in this case. So if you're interested in checking it out, head over to Patreon. We just released it last week, and all of our patrons loved this episode.
Yeah, that was really good. And I don't like documentaries.
You just are forced every month to watch one.
Yeah, so like sometimes just like, oh, let's watch this documentary. And I get out of it by saying, let's save it for the True Crime and Chill. So this way we don't waste it. So I only have to watch one a month. But
you really, really were into this one.
If I wanted to watch a documentary, I would watch that one.
Yeah. All right, so you have the patron shout-outs.
Do I do the Patreon shout-outs or the review of the week first, normally?
I think it changes. But since we just spoke about Patreon, you might as well do the patron shout-outs.
Well, now I'm going to do review of the week because you don't tell me what to do.
Oh, okay.
So as you guys know, every week I do review of the week. So go over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review there. For all you Android folks, you know how I feel about your phones. So this week's review of the weeks comes from, I know I'm saying this wrong, Kibi. It says, Russ is a finker. Been binging and only just finished 2022, but finker for finkter has doubled me over every time. Love the pod so much. A Southern listener, Kenzie.
Wait, hold on. In the review, did she say finker for sphincter?
Sphincter.
Sphincter. Is there a T?
Yeah.
You still said it wrong.
I thought I said it right the second time. No. Sphincter.
Sphincter.
Well, what happens is I'm from New York, so we talk fast. I'm not wasting time, like, going sphincter.
Yeah.
But I understand. The first time I said, what's a finker? Because I thought you said finker. And I think sphincter now is something in your butt.
Sphincter.
Oh, sphincter, like a spinster.
You keep saying it wrong. Sphincter.
Sphincter?
No, sphincter.
No, you said it wrong. I love when you correct me and you mess up. So when you guys join Patreon, you get a bunch of benefits. One of them is I shout you out on the podcast, and there is a shitload today, which is amazing. Thank you so much. And we have the True Crime and Chill episodes over there. There's a bunch if you run out of stuff to listen to here.
Yep.
And you get a refrigerator button.
Mm-hmm.
You get like other cups and stuff. Like go over there and check it out. Mugs. And so these are this week's Patreons. Angel, Violet, Alex, the one and only Courtney, Mary, Maddie, Lindsay, Emma, Jennifer, Janine, Kathleen, Michelle, Jackie, Nelda, Elizabeth, Melissa, Susan, Laura, Alana, Leah, Sarah, Chris, Heather, Jessica, Kara, Susie, Deborah, Chelsea, Alexis, Kelly, Natalie, Jaden, Charlotte, and about 3 Kims, Latoya, and Tina. Get at me, dog.
That was Wowzers.
A lot. Thank you guys so much.
You actually read that really, really fast, and you didn't mess up on any of the names.
But I ran out of breath like a fat ass. I've got to get my cardio up, but it's kind of hard to get around nowadays. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining the Patreon. Thank you. We appreciate it more than you guys will ever know.
It's motivating. Like people actually like us.
Yeah, it is motivating for sure. Well, like I said earlier, I was going to bring up that article that you brought up about the dude who talked to the sex offender online and then lured him and then killed him.
Yep.
Because on this month's True Crime and Chill episode,
I'm big on street justice.
In a part of the conversation, we spoke about your views on vengeance, especially with regards to how you would react if someone hurt me or if you were a dad and someone hurt your child.
Well, you got to protect your family. That's like, if you're not going to protect them, who are you going to protect? Unless you're like Wu-Tang, you just protect your neck.
Well, you said 1,000%. If someone hurt me or your kids, you'd kill them.
Or
you
Biggie.
Wouldn't even think twice about it.
Or my dogs.
Or your dogs. You also said killing is not okay, but when it comes to rapists and child molesters, anyone who sexually assaults another person, then it's okay. They can get killed, and the person who does it shouldn't get in trouble.
I don't think we should kill all sexual assault people. Like the guy that bit your butt, the bum, we shouldn't kill him, but should have smacked him.
Yeah,
Like,
but you're talking about people who actually rape or molest people.
Yeah, like
molest
real
children.
Stuff. Not like a bum with no legs that bit Jess's butt that had 2 teeth left.
He had no teeth, actually.
Oh yeah, he gummed your butt.
Yeah.
It probably felt like a hand.
God. Still the craziest thing that's ever happened to me.
I would have rolled him into the street. I would have got in trouble.
Well, it all happened so fast. Anyway.
He would have rolled so fast.
I briefly brought up the case of a dad doing just that. We didn't talk in depth about it on Patreon, but today I want to tell you about Gary Plauche, a dad who didn't trust the law and decided to take it into his own hands. Are you ready?
Yep, let me open this freshie. I am conflicted sometimes on the street justice thing because if you go kill someone for your family, now you're not going to be there to protect them anymore if you end up in jail. So you have to figure out what's the best way to handle situations and be able to protect your family in the future as well.
Exactly. So this story is going to be really interesting to you. And I have a feeling that I just know it's going to make you mad. It's February 1984. An 11-year-old Jody Plauche Jody is a boy, by the way.
Okay.
11-year-old Jody Plauche goes for a drive with his close family friend and karate teacher, Jeff
Mr. Miyagi.
Doucette. See, Jody and his brothers had been training with Jeff for almost 2 years. They were on the karate tournament team and would frequently go out of town with Jeff to compete. So going for a drive, it wasn't out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Jeff Doucette was a 24-year-old guy who moved to Baton Rouge, Louisiana a few years before. He had no family in Louisiana. So after teaching karate to the Plauche boys for the last couple of years, he ended up becoming very close with the whole family. He would be at their house all the time. He had dinner with the family multiple times a week. June and Gary Plauche trusted Jeff with their kids because the boys looked up to him and seemed to have a lot of fun with Jeff. He was almost like an older mentor, like an older brother.
Yeah, like they have those big brother programs where like you teach boys how to act and be men and be responsible and, you know, but...
The relationship between Jeff Doucette and the Plauche family started because after the boys enrolled in a karate dojo, the teacher took all their money from all the students and left town.
Oh, shit.
Before even teaching the first class.
That's crazy. I always wanted to do karate as a kid. Didn't we all from like Danielson?
Yeah.
And my mom wouldn't let me do it because it was violent. Mm-hmm. But then you just go outside and fight with other kids anyway, just unsupervised.
Yeah, I think like everyone wanted to do karate, especially after Karate Kid came out.
My mom bought me like these, it's like a pajama set that was like a karate outfit, like with a black belt and everything. And I wore it to school. And the teacher told my mom, can you stop letting him wear it to school? Because he keeps kicking everyone. I think I was like 5.
You would. So Jeff Doucette took over the dojo and told the Plauche family that since they already paid, but the old teacher stole their money, he would teach all the boys for free for the first few months.
Wow.
That way they didn't actually lose anything.
Sounds commendable.
Gary and June were so relieved. Gary was a working man raising 4 kids, so this was really helpful. And this was their first impression of Jeff. The karate lessons turned into traveling to tournaments, and Jeff would also take the boys out for dinner and to the movies, even sometimes to Chuck E. Cheese.
Where's Jeff getting all his money if people aren't paying for lessons?
In fact, the first time Jeff asked to take the Plauche boys out to the movies, their mom, June, she was a little weirded out by this. So she called her brother, who's a police officer, and she asked him to do a background check on Jeff, and he came back totally clean.
What year was this?
1984.
Oh, wow.
The boys all saw Jeff as their older best friend. They loved hanging out with him and thought he was so cool. About a year into the karate lessons, June and Gary decided to separate, and they were planning to get divorced.
Damn.
So having Jeff available to take the boys to and from practice, school, and tournaments was very helpful to June, who was the parent at the time with the primary custody. So like I said before, it's February 1984, and Jeff comes by the house and tells June he and 11-year-old Jody were going to go for a drive to his brother's carpet company, and they'd be back in 15 minutes.
See, this is getting weird. Like, you have all this free time, and you just want to hang out with my boys. I understand, like, occasionally you do stuff, but don't you have any friends or, like, a girlfriend or something else to do?
Exactly. There's some red flags there. Jeff said they'd be back in 15 minutes, but Jeff and Jody didn't come back.
Oh, shit.
Jeff took Jody to a bus station and told Jody they were going to California to see Disneyland. Jody wanted to go to Disney, and he also didn't want to upset Jeff, so he went along with the plan.
How old is he?
At this time, he's 10.
Yeah, 10, man. You're going to go with the plan.
Jeff and Jody stayed in a couple motels along the way, and Jeff cut his beard, and he dyed Jody's hair from blonde to brown.
Well, that's kidnapping.
Jeff and Jody were missing for 10 days. In June, Gary and local law enforcement were frantically searching for them back in Louisiana. After 10 days, Jeff told Jody, look, you need to call your mom and tell her that you're alive and okay. So Jeff called the Plauche house collect.
They didn't even have no money.
For our young listeners that don't know this, before cell phones, if you're going to call long distance, you needed to make a collect call.
No, you could have made a long distance call, but it would have cost you a lot of money.
But if you don't have money, you make a collect call.
Yeah, if you're a bum.
Yeah.
So I remember back in the day, like if someone calls from California, they're like, hurry up, it's a long distance call. Like, don't waste the time. 'Cause you were paying per minute.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
youngsters don't even understand, boy. Now you got these like these little phones that could do anything.
Yeah. So when you called collect, it would say, you have a collect call from Jessica. Do you accept charges? Because they charged the person receiving the call.
Yeah.
So Jody calls his house collect, and luckily the police are monitoring the phones at the house. Jody tells his mom he's okay and he isn't hurt. But Jeff doesn't let Jody tell his mom where they are. He rushes him off the phone. The officer working with the family, his name was Mike Barnett. He speaks to the operator after the call ended, and he says, this is a kidnapping investigation.
Yeah.
Where did this call come from? And the operator tells them, Anaheim, California.
Oh, good.
Within,
Oh, that's right. Collect calls. You had to ask an operator would pick up, and you're like, I'd like to make a collect call, and then they would punch it up for you, and then they would tell the person, hey, this is Russell calling. Do you accept his collect call?
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot about all that.
So within the hour, Baton Rouge police trace the call, and the police in California and the FBI go to the motel to get Jody. They bust in the door of the motel room. They arrest Jeff, and they take Jody to the station. Jody is in the station being interviewed by police for a few hours. But Jody has a secret that he doesn't want to tell. He knew the police were going to take him to the hospital and that the truth would come out eventually. But he says he didn't want to be the one to tell on Jeff because he was afraid if Jeff got out of jail, he would come after him for telling.
He probably thinks he's tough because he's like the karate teacher. That karate ain't going to save you from a bullet, player.
So when asked if Jody was abused or assaulted in any way, Jody says no. You guys already know because we have been talking about them for a while now. Via Hemp is by far one of our favorite sponsors we've ever had, okay? We use their products all the time. Maybe you're a little like me. You're a little anxious. You have a hard time settling down. You're kind of wound up a lot. If that's you, Via Hemp products are for you. Check out their website. You will find something that speaks to you. Maybe you're like Russ. You have a hard time sleeping because you have bad nerve pain or chronic pain. Then Via Hemp is for you because their gummies will help you get some quality sleep. Maybe you're looking to have a really good time. Maybe you just really like edibles. You want to laugh. You want to get the munchies. You want to watch a movie and have a really strong belly laugh. Then Via Hemp products are for you, okay? They're literally for everybody. So head over to viahemp.com, promo code wifeofcrime1 to get 15% off your first order. That's VIIAHEMP.com, wifeofcrime1 for 15% off your first order. Last year, Save More Money was the most popular New Year's resolution in America. Clearly, a lot of us feel like our money is slipping through our fingers. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not the best saver, and I don't know much about investing until I started saving and investing with Acorns. Turns out you don't have to be an expert at all because Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals. And I always thought that when people say, ooh, I invest in stocks, that they had a ton of money or something. Well, you don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you invest with the spare money you've got right now. You can literally start with $5. And you know you guys are spending that at Starbucks on these fancy lattes. So skip the coffee and invest with Acorns. You don't even need a ton of time. Like you can just sign up and start investing within 5 minutes. Head over to acorns.com/wifeofcrime or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. That's acorns.com/wifeofcrime. He's taken to the hospital for a full evaluation and a safe or SART exam.
Yeah, the sex test, like
a rape
the rape
kit,
test.
yeah, was performed. And the police fly Jody home to Louisiana to reunite with his family. The media was all over this story, and it was a total circus at the airport. His parents are so happy to be reunited with Jody. The media asked Gary, "What did you learn from this?" And Gary says, "Just how much I love my children.
Good answer.
I might be more protective, maybe even overprotective now. I don't know." They get to take Jody home. After he gets home, Jody still denies being assaulted to his parents. But 12 days later, the rape kit results come back positive.
Wow.
And Gary and June finally learn the truth about the horror their son had endured for over a year at the hands of Jeff Doucette. Jody confides in his mother, who's remaining as calm as she possibly can.
Wait, so this was happening the whole time, even before the kidnapping?
This was happening the whole time.
But he also used to take the other brother, so he used to get the other brother too?
No, it was multiple brothers. There were 4 boys, and Jody was the only one that he would do this to.
Man, I wonder if his brothers knew.
No, no one knew.
Motherfucker.
Jody confides in his mother, who is remaining as calm as possible. Jody says her calmness actually helped him stay calm himself and helped him be able to open up to her. Jody tells his mom that the abuse had been going on every single day for over a year. He says it all started months after Jeff started teaching the boys karate. One day, Jeff let Jody sit on his lap to drive the car. He would let the boys drive his car for fun from time to time. He did this with all the boys. But Jody believes this was his way of testing the boundaries with him and his brothers. Jody was surprised and very confused the first time Jeff touched him, but didn't know what to do.
Yeah, if I had a kid, I wouldn't let him sit on no one's lap. You know, your grandma, grandpa, whatever, but like, don't sit on no one's lap. Get out of here.
We'll talk about that in a few. We'll expand on that in a few. He was very confused the first time Jeff touched him, but he didn't know what to do. Jody didn't want Jeff dead. He just wanted the abuse to stop so he could have fun with him like his brothers did. He didn't understand why he was a target. So he stayed quiet, and it progressed, and it lasted for over a year. Jody says his mother's calmness allowed him to get it all out. And he felt like the weight of the world had been lifted off of him and he could finally be himself again. Gary's reaction to the news was the opposite of June's. It was pure rage.
Hell yeah.
Baton Rouge detectives Bud Connor and Mike Burnett fly out to California to get Jeff and bring him back to Louisiana to face charges. On the plane, Jeff tells Bud about his own upbringing and how he was abused as a child. He also confesses to assaulting multiple children and even says it's more children than he could possibly count.
Wow, it's so scary because anybody who would want to abuse children would get in a job, you think, that is full of children.
Exactly. It's very scary.
Hopefully you have a child that would like tell you or resist. I mean, but how do a kid doesn't know how to act in that situation?
A kid doesn't know how to act. But later on, we'll talk about what Jody Plauche does now as an adult and how he helps victims and some of the things that he tells parents. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. So meanwhile, the media gets wind of this and reports on the nightly news that Jeff Doucette is being extradited back to Louisiana that night, and his plane will arrive at 9 p.m. Gary Plauche is having a drink in a bar called the Cotton Club, and he sees the news. He immediately finishes his drink, gets up from the bar, and heads straight to the airport with his revolver in his ankle holster.
Let's go.
Camera crews are all over the gate waiting for Jeff Doucette to be escorted off the plane. This is back when you were allowed to go back to the gate, you remember?
No, I didn't go on a plane back then.
So in the airport before 9/11, you could go all the way to the gate.
I don't remember.
Like like anyone could go to the gate. Like you would go and wait for your family to come off the plane at the gate.
Oh.
You weren't waiting outside in the front.
Oh. So it was probably so much the lines were probably so much less at the airport back then.
Definitely. But right now, the media is all at the gate waiting for him to come right off the plane.
That's a bit crazy.
So like I said, camera crews are all over the gate waiting for Jeff Doucette to come off the plane. I'm going to show you the video of what happens next.
Let's go. Now, why is this not okay? Wouldn't anyone want their father to protect them? And he should be like he should suffer no consequences. They should have delivered this fucking Karate Kid to the father and said, "Do you want to take care of it yourself?"
Well, let me clue everyone into who's listening to what just happened. Gary Plauche is hiding by the payphones with his back turned as Jeff walks by him. He pulls out his revolver and he shoots Jeff in the head on live television. Jeff Doucette would die a couple hours later from his injuries.
Good.
As the cops grab Gary and arrest him, Mike Burnett yells, "Why, Gary? Why? Why'd you do it?" And Gary says, "If somebody did this to your kid, you'd do it too." Gary Plauche is arrested and charged with murder.
Fuck. I hope he doesn't get too much time.
Gary was evaluated by a psychiatrist who said he was in a, quote, temporary psychotic state after learning of what happened to his son.
That's true.
There was an outpouring of support for Gary. Many people saying he should be free. He's not a criminal. He is a hero. Gary would agree to a plea bargain where he pled no contest to manslaughter, and he was sentenced to 7 years suspended sentence with 5 years probation and 300 hours of community service.
Oh, that's great.
He would not spend a single minute in prison.
Shout out to Jeff, man. And shout out to...
Not Jeff.
Wait.
Shout out to Gary.
Gary. Yeah, Jeff, I hope you're burning in hell, you piece of shit. But Gary is the man, like... And then, shout out to the law officials.
Initially, Jody was angry at his father. He didn't understand. He was fine with Jeff going to jail for life. And he was happy that the abuse had stopped. He didn't want his father to kill Jeff. He didn't want his father to go to jail. He was very confused and sad. But as time passed, after Gary returned home, Jody began to understand that his father did this for him.
Yeah.
Jody eventually got back into sports and played quarterback for his high school football team. He went on to attend LSU and got his bachelor's degree. After graduation, he got a job with the Victim Services Center of Montgomery County. He has now made it his mission to be a victim advocate. In 2019, Jody wrote a book called Why, Gary, Why? In an interview with ESPN, he says, "I wanted to give victims hope. I wanted to give parents knowledge. And I wanted outsiders to get a general understanding about sexual violence and sexual abuse. I've had parents message me and say, 'I just finished your book and I've learned so much.'" The book synopsis states, quote, "Deputy Mike Barnett asked Gary Plauche why Gary why, seconds after television cameras recorded Gary shooting and killing karate instructor Jeff Doucette, who had raped, molested, and kidnapped Gary's son, Jody. Now, 35 years later, Jody Plauche answers the deputy's questions on the behalf of his late father and explores the story of his molestation, kidnapping, and survival. He unveils the sly tactics that child predators often use so that he can better inform parents of the potential signs that a person might harm their child. Through his own incredible story of using his past for good by helping others, he shares how any reader who has suffered great trauma can move on and not let their past define him or her. You have the potential to overcome negativity and redefine your own story.
Hell yeah.
So I've watched multiple interviews with Jody, and on numerous occasions, he says he refuses to allow what happened to him to define him.
I love that because, don't let these terrible people impact the rest of your life in a negative way. You got to try to, I haven't been through that situation. I've been through a lot of bad things, but just try to win, man. That's the best way. Like, just try to win.
Yeah. He is an advocate, and he's on a mission to use this experience to help others. He does tons of speaking engagements for not only fellow survivors of abuse, but also for parents, because he wants to educate them on how to protect their children from predators.
Well, how do you? I don't know.
So in some of the interviews, he talks about different things that are like red flags, and also different things that if he were a parent, because he doesn't have children, but if he were a parent, what he would do to protect his kids after the experience he had. And one of the things he talks about is Santa and how much he hates Santa.
What?
He says children should not be sitting on adults' laps.
Oh yeah, I'm with that. Don't do that. It's too close to your private parts. Like, don't put your private parts on someone's legs.
So we actually spoke about this in an episode. I don't remember if it was a Patreon episode or a regular episode years ago. You talked about how if you had a kid, you wouldn't let your child sit on anyone's lap. Like if you had a little girl, you wouldn't let her sit on men's laps, even if it was your friends.
No.
If it was like their grandparent or something, that's different. But
there's no need.
But if it's like a friend or something.
Sitting on someone's lap doesn't make your life better or doesn't make it worse if you don't sit on someone's lap. They're not missing out on anything.
So another thing that we've spoken about in other episodes, and it's something that Jody is very, very adamant about, is that he doesn't think that sleepovers are okay.
I said that, and we got into a whole thing where I said, no, the kid could never sleep over no one's house. And you're like, yes, they can.
Yeah, we got into a whole thing. Jody is also against sleepovers. He says, yeah, like your kids are going to be mad at you, but they shouldn't sleep at other people's houses unless it's family, because you don't know what goes on behind closed doors in someone else's house.
Yeah, family's different. Like, you know, if my sister had a kid and you go sleep over your brother's house or something like that. But like a friend that they met from school, and now the parent, like some parent that like I think has a good personality. First of all, I don't trust anyone, so I probably would hate the parent anyway. Because I'd like actually have to talk to this person now because our kids are friends. Can we just like wave?
Yeah. So, and we got messages after that episode where you and I went back and forth about the sleepover thing, because I did have sleepovers when I was a kid, and I did sleep at other people's houses, and nothing happened to me, and my sleepovers were fine. But you said that you don't like the idea of your hypothetical child sleeping at someone else's house. We got into a whole thing. We got a lot of messages that were very mixed. Some people agreed with me and some people agreed with you.
So basically, there were two responses to our conversation. There were right responses and wrong responses.
Yeah, okay.
The right ones were the ones that agreed with me, and you were obviously wrong.
Okay.
Don't hit me with a South Park, okay.
Okay. So another thing he says is that if another adult wants to spend more time with your kid than you do, that's a huge red flag. You know, Jeff was trying to hang out with the boys all the time.
Yeah,
they were all young, and he's 24 years old.
It's crazy. When we were young, we had a few older dudes that would always want to hang with us.
Yeah.
But I think this dude was a little autistic, like mildly autistic. So we never worried about anything, but if he would have tried something, we would have jumped him.
Do you ever think that, because you have had situations where you hung out with much older people when you were a child.
Yeah.
Do you ever think that the potential to be hurt was there, but you just had a strong personality, so no one tried anything?
I don't know. Like, my mom was weird. If someone was like 4 years older than me, she'd like, they're too old to hang out with. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? So... But I guess there were like some older guys that would play basketball, and there was this one guy, like, you know, when you play sports, it's weird. I don't know why sometimes people like slap each other's butt, which is like really weird if you think about it. And I never liked that. Like, it was stupid.
Yeah.
But this guy would always like slap our butt, and he was older than us. But it would be like a slow slap. And we'd be like, yo, why does this guy touch our butt so like soft?
Yeah, that's weird.
Like it was just weird.
That's pretty odd.
It was odd, but he just played. He I don't know. He moved slow in general. So I don't know. I never had any issues.
Well, that's good. I mean, thank God you didn't.
No, I don't think that I ever encountered that.
That's good.
I don't think so. And most of the older people I knew anyway was from sports, because a lot of times I played with the older guys.
Okay. So Jody has made his mess his message, and it's amazing and inspiring to see. He doesn't allow the tragedy to define him, but instead uses it for good. Gary Plauche died October 2014, but he did a few interviews before his death. In one of them, he was asked if he regretted killing Jeff, and he said no.
Good.
He said he would dig him back up and shoot him in the head again.
Let's go.
And that's the story of Jody Plauche and his father, Gary, who took the law into his own hands.
I'm for it, man. And I'm glad that they gave him probation, and hopefully they barely didn't make him...
I mean, he did do community service.
Hopefully he didn't really do that much community service.
I think he cut grass for like the local church or something.
That
like
ain't bad.
he didn't do anything too crazy. I think he had to go like once a week and cut the grass.
I would have gladly done it.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I'm sure he felt the same way.
Especially, I think this should be, how do you say it? It like sets a precedence that like if you shoot a child molester, you won't get that much time. We'll give you like a slap on the wrist.
Well, in this situation, you know, Gary, first of all, it's Louisiana, and I feel like down south, people are allowed to carry guns, and it's just a little bit different down there.
Yeah, they're wearing like cowboy boots with the spinners on the back and stuff.
No, they're not. But you're allowed to carry guns, and I feel like in this situation, you know, so many people identify with Gary and what he was going through. I do feel bad that Jody, like all his business was out there. Like that's sad to me that after this whole situation, you know, then the media was all over this. He just killed him on live television in front of this.
It's embarrassing.
Media, and everybody found out why he killed him. And then it was all over the news. And Jody had to live the rest of his life being the kid who got molested by his karate teacher. And thank God he like embraced it. And you can see in interviews with him, like he embraced it and he's like, yeah, this happened to me, whatever. Like it is what it is. This is what happened to me and I'm going to have the best life I can and I'm going to be an advocate for people. But he's a strong person to be able to live his life with everyone knowing that this happened to him as a kid.
He's a better man than me for the fact that he's helping people and trying to turn this into a positive spin, like I probably would have just like blocked it out of my head and be like, it's over. I'm just going to let it go.
Yeah.
I think
a lot of people would do that.
Yeah, I'm more of a let it go person.
Yeah, I think that most people would react that way where they'd want to just like let it go and move on. But he's doing some really great things. So if you want to watch some interviews with Jody Plauche, if you're interested, he's all over YouTube. He's done multiple podcasts. His book, Why Gary Why, like I said, came out in 2019. So definitely check it out if you're interested in this story. And if you're a parent who has small children, you know, like it might be a good thing to read his book. To know, like, from firsthand experience, what you can do to prevent these things.
No sleepovers, folks, and no sitting on the laps. And just why would a grown-up that's not related to my kid want to hang out with my kid? I don't even like when people pet my dog.
You don't?
Don't touch Biggie.
You don't like when people pet Biggie?
Only, like,
that's not true.
If I bring him somewhere, like when I bring him to the brewery and give him French fries, that's like Biggie's day out. Like, all right, Biggie, go out and whore yourself and get all the pets you can. But like when I'm walking in the street and someone wants to stop me, now I'm stuck in a one-on-one situation having to talk to this weirdo petting my dog.
Yeah, you don't like that?
Reminds me of that Indian kid, the meme, "Don't touch me, bitch."
What is that?
Everyone else will know it's a meme.
Oh.
Where, like someone's touching the Indian kid and he just like, "Don't touch me, bitch." It's so good.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning back in. Check us out on Instagram at Wife of Crime Pod and Facebook at Wife of Crime The Crime Family.
Do
and
first.
Patreon at Wife of Crime Pod. And check out some of our new merch that we just dropped last month. The Camp Wife of Crime, You Don't Want the Smoke sweatshirt
I gotta get one.
Is doing really well. So check that out. And we will talk to you later.
All right, folks. I'll catch you next time.
All right. Bye.